Hey guys, good morning. Thank you so much for joining. Okay, so we can start the session in a few minutes because waiting for others to join. Okay, so we'll wait for maximum 1 minute. After that, we can start. Okay, so meanwhile, you can ask questions like, what do you know already about files, file handling? Maybe you worked on the different languages like Java and other languages like .NET and all. So you can ask questions in the chat box. Definitely, I will answer, and we'll have very detailed discussion today about the files. And we can start in shortly, like in another 2 minutes maximum. Yeah. Okay, sure. Let's get started. So we can. I'm gonna do the Visual Studio Code. There we can start programming. Okay. So in last few sessions we discussed about various concepts on the Python programming like data types, exceptions, functions. So already we discussed in the previously. So now I'm going to discuss about today concept is files. So files is little important. The people who are working on the data science and like AI and blockchain technologies, files will play a very important role, right? So yeah, let's get started. See, basically, when you want to store the data, there is a various ways we can do it, right? So one way is like storing the data into the databases, the files, and also we can store the data into the various different configurations generally, right? So what we can do right today, we are going to deal with some text files, some CSV files, and what are the file operations we have it. Those things we'll see one by one. Okay, so yeah, let's get started. I'm going to create a folder here. Yeah, you can ask questions on the chat box. I'll definitely answer. So I'm just creating the folder name is called the files. Okay, and inside the files I'm going to create, first one is the intro.txt. Let's discuss some introduction to the files. So sometimes it is not enough to only display the data on the screen. Sometimes we want to display the data in the in the in the So there are so many ways we can deal with Python functions here. Okay, so Python files and all. So generally, when it comes to the files, there is a open file. Okay, this is one thing which we have it, and next one is the read the file, and next one is the write the file. Okay, these are the various operations generally we do with Python program. Open the file, read the file, write the file, and one more important thing is the close the file, right? So generally, this is a terminology we know it. Even normally, you take Word document, you take text document, PDF, any documents you take, we generally open the file, read the file, write the file, and close the file. If you want to do those operations with the programming, so that's what we have some functions, how to deal with the Python programming and all is there. And one more important thing you have, one concept is called it as different types of modes is there. So file can be opened in the various modes, right? File can be opened in various modes. So I can say that, so one is that read mode. Let me write all these important modes here. So one is the read mode, and next one is the read write mode. So one by one I am writing it, so it will be very easy to understand, guys. Okay, read mode, write mode, and next one is the append mode. Okay, so next one is the read write plus mode. Okay, so you can see that R plus, that is the read write mode. So next one is the W plus, so W plus mode, and next one is the A plus, it is the append mode. So there is another special mode is called the exclusive mode. Okay, that is called X. Okay, we'll discuss later. And if you want to open, this is like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Totally 7 modes we are seeing it is. Read and read, append mode, and W mode, and W plus, A mode, and A plus, and X mode. So what is the R mode basically? It opens the file in the read only mode. R plus means it opens the file into the read and write both. So R plus is read plus write. Okay, this is only read, right? W is only write. So A is just append mode, right? W plus means like it opens the file to write and read both. Okay, so write and read both. So we can say like this. So A plus means this is we can use it, opens the files to append and read mode. Okay, so append plus read mode. And the last one is exclusive mode. This I will discuss separately. Okay, if the file which is not available, it will create automatically. We'll see that there is a difference between the X mode and W mode. So we'll talk it little later. Just give little time for this to understand much more better on it. Okay. And apart from this, there is another modes is also there. Okay, most of the people don't know about this RB mode. That's called a read only binary format. Okay, so read only binary format. So we can also deal with images, binary files, and all. If you are dealing with binary files, we can use the RB mode. So if you are going to deal with something like write concept, so we can use a WB. This is a read only it's a write only binary format. Okay, so read only binary format, write only binary format, right? So next one is AB is actually append only binary format. Okay, when you are dealing with binary files, this is going to be useful. Append only binary format. And one more important thing is that we can also use this RB plus. Okay, so this is like plus mode, and WB plus and AB plus. Okay, so what is this RB plus? It opens the file to read and write both in the binary format. So it means that read and write. Okay, read and write in the binary format, only in binary format. Same way it is applicable for the WB plus as well. So read and write only binary format. So here I am going to write, so instead of read first, we'll use the write and read only format. The next one is the AB plus. AB is actually stands for append, right? It opens the file into the append mode, and also we can use it for the what purpose? Okay, it opens the files to append and read mode, read only mode. So these are the various modes we have it when you are going to open the file. So by default mode is a read mode. Okay, when you are not defining any mode, so the default mode is, so I'm saying that default mode is read mode. This is the default mode, read mode. Okay, so what we can do now, we are going to explore much better onto this, and we'll see that how we can write the programming for this. Okay, so what we'll do right now, I'm going to create a file here. So say that first file, first underscore file dot py, which is I'm creating now. So in this, we can start with the programming, right? So in Python, when you are going to deal with the files, we have one function name is called the open. So we can use the open function to create a file, or we can read the file, whichever the way you can do it. So initially there is no any file here. I'm going to create a file by using this open function. So let me increase the font size. Maybe it is very easy to get the point, right? Now what I'm going to do, right? I'm going to use this open function. I'll create a file here. Very simple. To create a file, I can say that sample.txt instead of, okay, you can give the sample.txt, just leave it this, and this file will be open. Okay, this sample.txt. So here I'm going to say something like this is the file. Okay, this is my file is equal to open of sample.txt. Now I want to go and print this. Okay, file, just for your information. If I go and execute this code, what will happen? You'll get an exception, right? Because it's saying that, hey, you're looking for some file, but that file which is not available in your directory. So sample.txt, which is not available, of course, right? Here there is no sample.txt, right? So what we can do, right? I want to create sample.txt. Okay, then I can read it. So what I will do, right? I will create this sample.txt inside this. Okay, so inside this I will create sample.txt inside the files folder. I mean to say that. Okay, now I'm going to the first file. Again, I am executing this code. Still you see that there is an exception. Even though we have sample.txt, but we are getting an exception because it is not in the root directory. It is there in the files directory. So you have to provide the files slash sample.txt. Now if we go and execute this code, you are not seeing any error, but you will see something, a memory information, right? So IO text wrapper name is equal to files.sample.txt. Default mode is R. Default encoding format is UTF-8. Okay. So what do you understand this? If you are going to read the file, you have to give the complete path or relative path. You just right click on the for the whichever the file you want to read, just click on the path and you can give the whole path here, also fine, or else you can give the relative path. So you can see that when I go to again sample.txt, click on the relative path, you can also provide the relative path here. So this is also works. Either you can give relative path or you can give the like full path. It's up to you how you are going to deal with this. So this is default mode is read mode. So I'm going to tell you here very important concept is, okay, the open function. So basically this open function will take the three parameters. So open function, so it has three parameters. The first parameter is the file name, and second parameter is the mode, file mode, and the last parameter is which one? The last parameter is encoding. So this is, but by default the mode is the here it's the read mode, encoding is the UTF-8. If you provide or not provide, it will take by default one. But if you want to specifically mention this mode encoding also, it works. For example, if I go and say this, okay, we don't need to specify the mode here, just we can specify the R, okay, that is in the read mode. And encoding is here, you can specify the encoding is equal to UTF-8. This is the encoding which I'm giving. Now, if I'm going to execute this code, you see the same output. Okay, so Python is considered this second parameter and third parameter is by default one. Okay, yeah, that is up to you whether you can provide it or not, but it will take the default one. Okay, so what if I want to create a new file? Okay, so I want to create a new file, then I can use a W, then you can change this one. Okay, this instead of sample.txt, I can say that today is a Saturday, so say that Saturday dot, okay, dot txt, Saturday.txt, which I'm giving. Now I'm going to execute this piece of code. Okay, then you can see at the left side Saturday.txt, which is got created, right? So it is up to you, like how you want to create the file, you want to read the file. This mode is going to play very important role. Okay, so you can change this one as per your need. You can change it to the read mode, write mode also, it works. Okay, so it works for the read mode and write mode also, it works. Now you can see here. Okay, now I want to add some data to the file. Okay, one more point, guys. If I'm going to execute this code, what will happen, right? You keep on click on it, no, nothing going to be work. There is a saturday.txt is there. Now what we will do, right? I'm going to add some content to this file. The file dot, okay, if you want to write something, there is a write function. If you want to read, then there is a read function. If you want to check whether the file is in the writable format or writable accessibility, we can use the writable functions. Okay, so there are a lot of ways we can do it. Right now I'm taking the read here. Okay, so sorry, write I'm going to use because I need to insert some data. Okay, so it's right. I'm just going to say that this is Python programming. Okay, this is Python programming. So you can just write like this. Now I'm going to execute this piece of code. You see that I'll go to the saturday.txt. This is Python programming, which is got shown into the, it is got inserted into the saturday.txt. Now what we'll do, right? I'm going to add one more data here. Okay, for example, say that this is a Python programming and discussion on file handling. Okay, so I'm writing this way. So when I'm going to write this is Python programming and discussion on file handling, is it going to be replace the existing text or is it going to be added? That is a question, right? If I go and execute this code, okay, and okay, now let me go and execute this code and you see, okay, okay, I executed the code. Now you can see that saturday.txt. This is Python programming only there. Okay, so let me write. Okay, now it's got changed now. Discussion on file handling. So the content will get overridden, guys. Okay, whenever you use the write mode, when you change the content will be overridden. That is the one of the little drawback with the W mode. So what I mean to say that, so this point you need to note it down. W mode always create new file. Always create new file with appended data, with overwritten data, with overwritten data. So this is always you should remember. Okay, so W always create new file with overwritten data. Even if you already having the data, the latest data will be overwritten. That's something you just look at this. But I don't want to overwritten this data, but I want to do with the append mode. So that time we can go with the, so we can use the something called append mode, right? Something called append mode. So or else we can use the W plus also. Okay, so what we can do now, okay, so I'm going to use the file dot, okay, and write mode only we can use, but we can change the append mode if you don't want overwritten. For example, this is Python programming discussion on file handling. I saved this file. Now I'm going to run this one. Okay, so I'm going to run this one. Now if I go and execute this code, if you go to the saturday.txt, the content is got added. So either way we can use the W plus mode or append mode, both the way it works. So I'm telling you the first differences between the W and the append. Later we'll go with the plus signs and to understand much better onto this. So A is like, okay, file should be exist first. file should be exist. Then it will add content. Okay, then it will add content. It's adding in the sense append. Okay, I mean to say that. Okay, append the content at the end of the file. At the end of the file. End of the file actually we denotes with the EOF. EOF stands for the end of the file. Okay, EOF stands for the end of the file. So that's little important, guys. I will explain you that what is the significance of EOF, and in when you use the seek method, and this is going to be useful a lot. Okay, when you use the seek method, this is useful a lot. Now what we can do, right? So this is Python programming discussion on file handling. This is what we have written. Again, if we're going to add some text, again it is going to append it to the at the end of the file. Okay, now I don't want okay, let me go and explore about the something called X mode. So what is the X mode? So what is the, okay, this is uppercase letter. Okay, what is the X mode? If I go and run this code, what will happen, guys? Simply I'm going to run this file. So you'll get, okay, when I'm going to run this code, you see that there is an exception here. So invalid mode, because it's, I've given the uppercase letter X. Now I'm giving the small x. Let me go and execute the code again. We'll see now. Okay, so small x is considerable here, not the uppercase letter. X stands for the exclusive mode. X stands for the exclusive mode. Okay, exclusive mode. What is the exclusive mode? Exclusive mode is always tells if the file is not exist. If the file is not exist, then you create. Then you create. Then you create. Otherwise, throw an exception. Otherwise, throw an exception. Okay. So this is what the meaning of exclusive mode. So what is the difference between the W mode? W mode is always creates the file if the file is not exist. But the problem, even file is exist also, it will overridden. So let me go and give an example, give the differences. It is one of the interview question. What is the W mode? What is the exclusive mode? Okay, so W mode, both will create new file, guys. Both will create new file. This is also create new file, and this is also create new file. Okay, okay, create new file if file does not exist. Okay, so both will do the same job when it comes to this scenario. If the file does not exist, create it. What if the file is exist? Don't overwritten the data. Overwritten the data if file is already exist. If the file is already exist. Okay, so you can say like this. Okay, so okay, overwritten the data if the file is already exist. But when it comes to this exclusive mode, it says that throw an error if file is already exists. That is only the difference is. Okay, so overwritten the data, right? See here, there is no overwritten the data. So throw an error basically, right? So we can go into see this. This is a throw an error. Throw an error, right? So what I mean to say that, so we can throw an error if the file is already exists. That is the difference between the W mode and exclusive mode. Okay, so this is I hope you understand. If you have any questions, you can ping me on the chat box. I will answer that. Okay, so now we can open the file. So let's go to the now. We'll discuss about different concepts like how to read the file, how to check the whether the file is in the which permissions, those things which we are going to explore it now. See, that is very important. Okay, so right now we have checked that W mode, A mode, X mode, and also read mode by default. But in the next time, in the now we are going to check the operations. Now I'm going to create a file here, file operations .py. Okay, in the file operations, what we can do, right? So I'm going to create a file and we'll do some operations in this case. So I'm going to write the whole code here from the beginning to the end, and this is going to give the full clarity. Okay, so we'll do now. File is equal to, then I'm going to open the file. So this is a new file which I'm going to take. So give the file name here. The file name is, okay, files slash colors, okay, colors.txt, which I'm going to create it. Now after that, we can use the W mode on plus mode, and which I'm giving into the different mode. And you can say that UTF-8 by default is this UTF encoding is by default is UTF-8 only, but I'm just giving that just to remember this. And one more important thing is that you need to make this whole code into the exceptions, because when there is a file not found exception comes, we can easily handle it. Say that except, and we can say that file not found error, and inside this we can write throwing the error. So if you want to make the logging, okay, so we can use the import logging. This I will discuss later, guys, but just time being, you just keep it in your mind how we write normally in the real-time projects, right? So file not found error, so we can say that logging dot error. This is how we write. So logging dot error, and inside this we can give the message, okay, file does not exist, something like this. File does not exist, we can write. So simply, so when the file is not found, okay, file is not found, we can say that, okay, file does not exist. Okay, so I'm just writing it. If you don't want logging error, okay, you can just keep it in the hash and you can go to the print statement. Okay, so I'm just telling in that it is not always we write print statements. We try to avoid print statements in the projects, right? But okay, since I'm not spoken about the logging in the previous sessions, but whenever I talk about logging, I can use the logging. Okay, generally say that the file is not found. Okay, so this is an exception. So let's go to the try block again. Okay, what if the file is creating it? I need to insert some data. Okay, so that I need to check first of all, okay, file has write permissions or not. Check the file permissions, as simple as check file permissions. So this is how. Now what I'm going to do, right? Okay, you can use the file object dot. There is something called writable. Okay, there is something called writable. This is always returns the boolean data, right? If you can see here, file dot writable, and you can see if you want to see that output of file dot writable, also we can write print statement here. Say that file dot writable. Okay, it is a function. So let me go and first print this whether it is in the file dot writable or not. In the left side, you can see there is no color dot txt. When I'm going to execute this code, it is going to show the creating the colors dot txt. Okay, so I'm going to execute this code. You can see that. Okay, so it is created now. The colors dot txt is created, but it is an empty file because we are not inserted the any code or I mean any information inside this. So what we can do, right, go back to this file operations, and there is a print of file is not found is there. This is in anyway writable format only. It is written as always like code true. So what I'm going to do, right, I'm going to use if statement. If it is writable, then you write. If it is writable, then you write. So what we can write here, the file dot, and we can use the function name is called the write. So we have like this. So we can say that, okay, so file dot write. So then in the inside the write functions, you can define the some text. Okay, there is a write lines is also there. I'm going to talk in shortly what is the write and write lines and all. Okay, this is okay, we can write some colors, guys. Okay, red, blue, green, yellow. Okay, these are some colors. What we can do, right? Okay, when it is in the writable format, it is going to write it. Okay, so I want to read the content also. Okay, okay, if it is not writable format, okay, if it is not writable format, what we can do now? So if the file is not in the writable format, can I read the file? Okay, so we can go and use this print statement, print off, and we can say that file dot and read. Okay, so we can use this one here also. If you want to check that else if conditions, if you want to make it elif, okay, if you want to make it elif condition, say that, okay, file dot there is something called we can say file dot readable, then only you read it. If the file is not readable format, you'll get an exceptions basically. Okay, so if the file is writable, you write it. If the file is readable, then you read it. Something like this. Okay. Okay. So what I'm going to do, right? I'm going to execute this code again. You see that, okay, go to this colors.txt, the red, blue, green, yellow, which is got added. But problem is that, okay, the problem is this, we are not able to read it. Do you know why? We can see this when I say that file dot readable. So it's not readable because I'm not use the function call here, right? I'm not use the function call. That's why I'm going to execute the code again. You see that still, did you see that file dot read here? We are not getting the again data. Do you know how many people think like why we are not getting the read data? Why we are not able to read it? Okay, what if I say this one is the R mode? If I go and execute this code, you can see that I'm executing this code with the R plus mode. Just 1 second. My system is a little slow. Okay, yeah. So you can see that this is not printing. So can anybody ping me on the chat why we are into the R plus mode, but why we are not able to read this else if conditions? File is in the readable mode only, right? Because see, if it is a writable format, we can do it because of this R plus we are giving. Now I'm going to remove this plus button, plus symbol. Now I'm going to execute this code. Now I can read it. So it's very simple, guys. It's because of, yeah, you are right, Gopal Krishna. You are right. It's because of we are giving the plus here because different mode we are attached. We need to be very careful when you are using the plus, R plus, W plus. Right now it is R plus. If you give, that is right is there. It will go to the if writable. Yes, it is writable. Else it will never come to the else statement. Okay, it's never come to the else statement because there is already plus. Plus indicates the that is something called write mode, right? Something which is called the write mode because of I've written the if else statements here. Otherwise we can read it, no problem. Okay, now what I'm going to do, right? So this is about simple thing. So we can easily handle the if there is any file not found, we can see the exception. For example, I'm going to give here colors1.txt. I'm going to give the colors1.txt. I'm trying to read this file. Let me go and execute this code. We can see that it is gone to the exception. It is printing now. Okay, so always when you are doing the files, you need to handle it. And one more important thing in the real-time projects, you have to close the file. You have to close the file. Okay, this is definitely a best practice to do it. Definitely when you go to the companies, when you are working on it, and people will ask you like, did you follow the standards? When you open the file, it is your responsibility to close the file as well. Okay, it is your responsibility to close the file. To close the file again, we have something called file dot. Okay, there is a closed. We need to check whether if it is a closed, then no need of. Okay, if it is not closed, if it is not closed, then we can use it. Okay, for example, if I use if not file dot close, can I use the print statement? Can I use the file dot close function here? So I'm using the file dot close. If not file closed, then you can close the file, something like this. So if you want to see the print statement here, say that print. Okay, just for your information, I'm writing here the file is closed successfully. File is closed. Okay, successfully. You can write something like this. Now I'm going to execute the code again. See that. Okay, so when it comes to this, if not file dot closed, we got something called file which is not found because you are declared the file within the try block and you are trying to access this is in the finally. So how we can do it, guys? This kind of things. How we can do it? Anybody tell me in this session? Can anybody ping me on the chat? We got now there is something called if not file dot close means file is not defined, but already I defined the file in the above in the try block. I'm just waiting for your response on the chat. Why it is not recognizing the file? Because I declare in the try block and again except block is there, but I am trying to access because I need to check whether the file is closed or not. If the file is not closed, then I want to close it. Any answers? Any answers from the chart? Why this file is not recognizing here? No? Am I audible, guys? Can you someone please confirm on the chart at least? Why this exception came? Why file is not defined here? Anyone guess what went wrong here? We open the file is equal to open. I am trying to use the file here. It's not printing in the finally block. It's wrong exception. Why it's wrong exception? Because it's a name error, right, Gopal? See, because we have name error here saying that name file is not defined. The file is already defined in the above, like here, file is equal to open, files.colors1.txt. Is it because of what? Is it because of wrong file? Okay, I'm going to give the correct file now, colors. That's okay. Now I'm going to execute this code. This is done. You are right, Gopal. Okay. So what Gopal said, right? Okay. There is, I have given the colors 1.txt. When you give the wrong file name and when you're trying to close it, definitely it will say an error, right? Obviously, you're asking file like invalid object. The file you are not open, but you are trying to close it, definitely you will get an exception, right? So that is why. Now you can see that file is successfully closed. File is closed successfully. Okay. So this, see, when you open the file, we need to close the file as well. That's where like the file.close will come. So you have to write exception handling for the when you're using the files in your project. And second most important thing is that you need to check the permissions of the file. So if you're not checking the permissions like that, then it'll be a problem, right? Everywhere we need to check whether it is a writable or readable and all. You can check like this. Now, in the next file operation, I'm going to talk about read lines and write lines. We'll see that how this can be defined now. So read and write lines. So read and write lines dot py. So here I'm going to create a new file again, and we'll see that first we'll focus on the read lines. We'll finish everything about the read, then we'll go to the write. So what I'm going to do, right, I'm going to open the file here. Always better to write everything into the try and accept block. This is how you need to practice it. Okay. So open the file, and first one is the, like this time I will take countries. Okay, the countries dot txt, something like this. And this is, I'm opening into the w mode, and plus read. W plus means what? It's a read mode, right? So write and read mode, and this is enough. So what I'm going to do, right, okay, this I'm going to keep it into the some variable name called file. And after that I'm going to, okay, write some content here, the write. So here, right, I'm doing it instead of write, I'm going to do something called write lines. Okay, this time I'm going to do something called the write lines. What is the write lines? Okay, let me go and use this function. I'm going to write one by one. Say that, okay, so India is the largest democratic country. I'm going to write it here. And something like this. Okay, so whole thing I am writing into the string. Remember guys, whole thing I am writing into the string. Okay, can I write one more thing here, one more string? Okay, within the string only I'm going to write another line. So can I write slash n here? Is it possible, guys? If I'm going to write slash and it is not working. How to create new line in the string? Anybody tell me how to write a new line in the string? Can I, instead of this, shall I go and enter? Can I write now something like this? If I go in for the new line, definitely this double string is not going to work. Can I use this triple string like triple quotes? I'm going to use a triple quotes here because double quotes is not going to be work, right? So I'm going to write triple quotes. See, now it is okay. So because in Python we have the different formats of the strings, right? Like single quote, double quote, and all. This is where we can write. Okay, so we can say that again. Another one is the okay. USA is largest economical country. We can say that. Okay, country something like this, and okay, we can say that Australia is smallest continent in the world. Okay, these are the some text we have it. Okay, forget about sentences, guys. Look at the lines which I have written here. 3 lines which I have written. So what I'm going to do, right? I'm going to insert them into the file. So file dot write line. So we have to write here except block because this whole thing is in the try block, and I am writing here except block. This except block which is going to handle the file not found error. So what is the file not found error and file dot exist? So I'm going to write here 2 errors here. Okay, file not found error. Okay, file not exist error. So is it possible? Can you write 2 errors here in the same place? See, for example, you can see this is the file not found error, and another one is the file not found. Both are there. So what is the difference between the file exist error and file not found error? Anybody tell me? What is the difference between the file not found error and file exist error? Anybody knows? File exist error, when it will come? File exist error will come when you are going to use the exclusive mode. Okay, the file is already exist. When you are trying to create, it will throw an error when you're using it. Okay, so most of the times we use the file not found error only. File exist error will come when you use the exclusive mode. It will say that file already there in your path. Again, you are trying to create it by using the exclusive mode. That time we'll get an error. Okay, now this file not found error, we are having it. I'm going to use now print statement, say that file is not found. Okay, so this we can write when you have the, if your file is in the writable mode only, you can write it. Okay, so you can say that file dot writable, then you can write this content, say that, yeah, file dot writable, then you can write this. Okay, so indentation problem, now it is okay. Now what I'm going to do, right, I'm going to execute this code. We'll see that countries.txt is creating or not. You can see that there is a countries.txt is created outside of the files because I'm not given the path here into the files. I've given the root directory. It is created by default into the root directory. Now I'm going to check here. India is the largest democratic country. USA is the largest economical country. Australia is the smallest continent in the world. So all the data which I can see in the line by line. Okay, all this data which I can see in the line by line. Is it something like this? What if I use the read method? What if I use the write method? Okay, what is the write method? Okay, so what we can see, what we can do now, one more important thing is, I want to read this content line by line by using the read functions. So if I go to these files, okay, then read write, okay, I want to read this content. So if you want to read the contents, okay, you can write here, if the file dot, okay, readable. So this is the readable function. You write here with the file dot and read lines. Okay, so read line is there, read lines is there. I will talk both the functions at this moment itself. Okay, so file, if the file dot readable, then you read the lines. If you want to, if when you read the lines, we can say this is nothing but the content, or directly you can use the function name. or directly you can use print statement. Okay, so what I'm going to do right now, guys, I will use the print statement here, the print of, okay, content. Okay, I'm just going to give this content. If the file dot readable content is equal to file dot read lines and the print of content. If I'm going to execute this code, okay, let me see this whether we'll get the output or not. We see that we got something called square bracket. Can anybody tell me why we got this? I definitely, this is very important concept. I open the file in the write and read mode. I written the some text here. After that, anyway, text will be there, file is created. And after that, I am able to read the file, but I got something called square bracket. Of course, it is in the readable accessibility only, but we got something called, okay. So we got the list. This list is, we don't have it. You are right, Gopal. So the read lines functions always returns the list, but the thing is that we are not seeing the data. The reason is why we are not able to see the data when you use the square bracket. Sorry, when you use the read lines. When you use the read lines function, why we are not seeing the data? It is because of, if we go to the this countries.txt, there is always cursor will be there. There is something called file pointer. There is something called file pointer. It begins with the beginning of the file. It will go to the till last end. Okay, so file pointer starts from here, and it to write the data, file pointer will be there here. This here only file pointer will be there. The point which I'm going to tell you here, when you use the, when you creating the new file, your file pointer will go from the starting 0 index to the last the position. Okay, position 0 to last position. At the position it is the end of the file, and the position it is end of the file. So that time we are trying to read the data, obviously it is throwing that, okay, it is saying that there is no data at the end of the file. Your cursor is going to the at the end of the file, because in the write mode the cursor is taken from the beginning of the file to the end of the file. At the end of the file it is there is no data, so that's the reason we are not able to read it. So in that case what we can do, right? Okay, so I'll go to now again our code. Okay, here, right, in this w plus mode I will say that, okay, only r plus mode. Can it be works if I go and change the mode here? If I go and execute this code, you can see the text here. Okay, so yeah, you can use a seek also, then we can get, but as of now I'm not talking about the seek, but we'll talk in shortly. So you can see here in the list we have now, okay, there is a first line and the second line and third line, both the line, 3 lines which we are able to see it here. 3 lines, we are saying that each line is stored into the one item. Okay, so first line is got into the India is the largest democratic country, it gone into the first 0th index, and USA is a large economical country which is gone into the second index, like that. So each and every line is storing into the index. So that's something which you need to remember. So write lines is always read lines is always returns the list. What if I'm going to use only read line? There are three functions, right? Read, read line, read lines. I'm going to write here. So according to the read, there is a functions called read is one function. The another one is the read line. Okay, and the last one is the read lines. Okay, these are the things. Of course, readable. Readable is the first two we can write here, right? So we can use now readable. Readable is the function, and the read is another function, and the read line is another function, and read lines. Totally, there are 4 functions with respect to the read. Okay, if file dot readable, then you read the, either you can use the read function. So we can use the read. Read means it will read whole data. Let me go and execute this code for you. You can see that whole data which is given in the string data. So whatever you are enter, same data which we can see with the read. Okay, when I'm going to use the read line, so which will give the first line of the data. If I'm going to enter here, which will give the first line. When I'm going to use the read lines, it will give the all the data in the list format. So when you are saying that list format, this content is nothing but a list. The list has some functions here. For example, we can use the content dot, and we can go for the, okay, we can split the data, okay, we can use in different ways, we can write it, okay. So when you have the list, okay, this is the list. I want to print only like one index, 0 line. You can also use this, and if you want second line, we can use this way. We can print the each and every line also. See, when you have the list, you can do whatever the operations you want to perform it, we can do it. That's up to you. So content is the list when you use the read lines. But when you use the only line, the content is a string. When you use the only read function, content is again a string. So readable is always returns the Boolean value. This is the Boolean value. Read function is always returns the string, and the read line is always returns the string. Of course, this is the first line, and the read lines, which is always returns the list. Am I clear? Okay. So readable is the Boolean. We are going to check the formations of the file, whether it is readable or not. Then it is a read, then string. Okay. Then we have the read is written the string. Read line is something written the string, and read lines is the list. That's something how we can use it into the reading the files. Okay. Same thing is applicable for the write also. Okay. When you are talking about the write, first thing is the writable. Okay. This is always returns the Boolean value, and that is true or false. Then the next one is the write function. Okay. It is inserting the string. Okay. Inserting the string data. So, and next one is the what? So do you have write lines? Yes, of course, there is a write lines. We are going to insert the data into the lines format. So you can take this data. Okay, if you can look at these lines, we can use the iterable data. We can pass into the string. Basically, write lines take the string. Okay, so now can I use the write line here? Is there anything called write lines only? There is no anything about, okay, write line. There is no write line here. This is also take the string. Okay, but in the bigger data format, we can use it. So we have functions like writable, write, and write lines. So any questions, guys? Do you have any questions? You can ask me on the chat box. Okay. So basically, what are the things we learned here? I'm going to write all the list of functions we discussed here. What are the functions we discussed here? We discussed about open function, close function, right? And also like Boolean functions are like readable. Okay. Readable is one function, and the next one is the writable is another function. Okay, and closable, okay, closed is one function. These are the Boolean functions. Okay, so coming to the other functions like read function, and read line is another function. Read lines, okay, these are there. And next one is the write is one function, and the write lines is another function. Okay, these are the functions generally we have. This is for the open and close. This is these three functions to check the permissions, to check the like availability, right, of the file. So next one is the read and read lines. This is only for the read operations. This is for the write operations. Okay, this is how it works. But you may think in wonder, like, can I use the okay, Raja, can I go and create the different file here instead of Saturday.txt? Can I use the PDF here? So you can go and execute this code. It will create .pdf. So now I'm going to execute this code. You can see that there is a PDF file which is created in the left side. Okay, so and you can see that in the PDF also data which is got inserted, but it is not the right way to do it. But right now it is showing this. But if you go open this PDF file from your local computer, sometimes it may corrupt it. But this is not way to insert the data into the PDF. So this is Python programming. Okay, we got here discussion handling text, but this is not the way to deal with the PDF files. Okay, so it's not only about this. If you want to create something like, let me go to this. Instead of the PDF, if you are going to give something like CSV, now I'm going to execute this code. The file will be created CSV file. If I can go to here, you can see the text only in the VS Code, but not in the actual file when you are opening the data. So it's not only about CSV. For example, I want to create YAML file. So YAML file is okay. So AML file is okay. AML configurations files, if you want to create, we can do it. AML file is okay, but this is the incorrect format because always key and value pair is there. Since it is an incorrect format, but we can create AML files by using the open function. So what is the valid things we can create it, guys? We can create valid things when you are going to use the something like AML files and something like text files and all, we can use it. Okay. So, and okay, so can you show me the modes once? Yeah, these are the modes you can see on my screen, guys. Default mode is the read mode. I think you are able to see the modes on my screen, right? Read mode, read write mode, and write mode, something like this. Okay, these are the modes which we spoken now. These are the modes. Below are the functions. Okay, these are the modes. Below are the functions. Okay, let's talk about some more important function name is called the seek. So what is the use of the seek function? How we can use it in the programming? And before that, okay, and I want to discuss something which is an important concept of Python is that's called with keyword. What is the use of with keyword in Python programming? What is the use of it? Okay, so let me go to now. Okay, let me tell you one scenario. I'm going to take explain now the with keyword. Let me take here with keyword underscore demo dot py. Okay, here what I will do, right? I'm going to talk about with. Okay, so with. So I will use the without with keyword. So let's talk about first without with keyword. Then we'll see. Okay, so you see that I'm going to use the open function here. Say that okay, um, receipt dot receipt dot txt and use the something called w mode. I'm going to create a file here. Say that this is equal to file is equal to open of receipt.txt and comma w mode. So now what we can do, right? I'm going to take this file dot and what we'll do, right? We'll read or write or something we can do. Since it is already in the write mode, I'm going to write some text here. So this is a sample text. Okay. If I'm going to execute this code, okay, if I'm going to execute this code, this works. Obviously this code is going to work, but the problem with this code is if your file which is opened, if you're not close the file, it will be a problem always. Okay, so it is one file is okay, guys. If you're not close the file means it is always bad programming, right? So you have to close the file. To close the file you have to write again file dot close and you can close this, right? So this is how we have to write programming, right? So you have to use this way. So you have to close the file and use it. But the question comes to your mind, how to check whether the file is opened or not? We have something called closable function. But Python is saying that use the with keyword. You don't need to worry about closing the file. Python will take care for it. I mean, it will. You can easily do it for Python itself. So what I'm going to do, right? I'm going to use the with keyword. Okay, so Python will take care it, guys. If you're not using the close function, the Python will take care about with. So I'm going to open now by using the with keyword. So with space, then rest of all code is same only. Okay, what is the file name? So I'm going to use this time is the uh, demo.txt and this is another file. This time what I will do, right, I'm going to use something called okay w mode. Then finally, so we have to give the alias name for this, that's called file. Same code and I'm writing with the with in terms of with keyword, or else if you want to write receipt.txt also we can write. Okay, let me take the same name because you can take this is an example for the how what is the difference between the with and without with. Okay, so with open the file and we can see here, guys. Okay, So with basically we can use, sometimes you may forget to close the file, we can use, which is automatically close the file when you use it. Now what we can do, right? I want to write a content here, file dot write, and inside this say that this is sample txt, sample text something. This is with keyword. Okay, simple as. So this is a receipt text, and that is a simple. Okay, here we are using the with, here without with. So something like this. Now I'm going to execute this code. You will see that both the files are created here. Okay, both the files are created. Receipt is created, and receipt text is also, receipt one is also created. But how to check whether really with is working? How to validate with keyword is working? How to validate with keyword is working? So we can use something called okay, here I'm not using the close function here. I will check by using the print of closed function. We'll see automatically which is closed or not. Okay, I'm going to use the print statement. Inside the print statement is file dot closed, file dot. So when I go to enter, there is something called file dot closed. File dot closed functions will return the true or false if it is closed or not. Same way I will use this print statement even within the here. Okay, here I can see this. Okay, I'm going to use it here. So then it will tell us like whether it works. Like if I'm going to execute this code, see that. Okay, okay, yeah, this is because whenever you use the closed, it is not the function, right? You can see this is not callable one. Okay, this is something like a property. So when you use the closed, we can use the closed like this. That is what we got an error. It is not callable one. It is not function. Okay, it is not function. That's why we got it. Now you can see the first one I got false. Next one I got true. Means file is closed. So automatically the file is closed when you use the with keyword, but when I use the normal way, open the function, file is not closed. We got the false. Okay, that is the difference between the, okay, using the with keyword or without with keyword. So what I can recommend you to that, when you are working on the real-time projects, you always go and use the with keyword only. Because what happens if you are not close the file? If you are not close the file, automatically your server will get so much load. When your server gets so much load, performance will go reduce. It's one of the standards we need to follow when you write the code. It is your responsibility to close the file. You, in the sense, as a developer, when you are open the file, we have to close it. Otherwise, resource is opening in your, maybe you are opening one file. Every user is coming and opening the file. Files are not closed. Automatically, server will get burden. So that time we can use this with keyword. So with is always useful, which is Python bot to use it in our way. Okay, so you can ask me the questions, whatever the questions, if you have it. Now I'm going to talk about another important two functions, call it as the seek. What is the use of seek function? How to use it? Can anybody tell me what is the seek function? Why we need to use it? Can anybody tell me? I want to use the seek. Okay, let me go and create something like this here. I'm creating the new file. Users.txt. From going forward, I will use the with keyword only. So you have to write here try block, because this is how we can write it. Let's try. And of course, there is an except here. We can write. So I will come to this point. We can go to the, you're right, define the file. Okay, so when you are going to write the content, you can just use the write function. Just write here users. Say that Raja is one user. Okay, so GK is another user, Ruchi and Shiva. Okay, these are the users which I'm mentioning here. Okay, when I want to look at the print statement here, just you can use the print statement, the print. In the print statement, okay, we can write a file is not found. This is an exception, right? Generally we can use it. So file dot write Raja GK Ruchi Shiva, which I have given to write into this. Okay. So what we can do, right? Okay. Once we write the file, okay, I want to read the data as well. Okay. So if file is okay, let's go and first to create this file, and I'm going to execute this code, and file which is got created. That's something is called users.txt. Okay, file is not found, right? Because I've opened into the read mode. So I want to create now into the W mode. Okay, so now what we can do, right? I'm going to execute this code and file will be created at left side. Yeah, file is created, right? Is it created or not, guys? Is it taking so much time in my case? Just 1 second, it is taking time. I don't know, my system is little got slow down. Okay, I'm executing the code again. So you can see that user.txt is created here. Okay, so what we can do, right? I will back to the again the coding part. So there is a seek function. So what we can use, right? Print of seek. So let me go and show you what is a seek. So file dot, and you see there is a functions here. When I say that, we already discussed about the closed and everything. There is two important functions we have it. One is a seek, seekable, and tell. So let's go with the first tell function. What is going to give our information here, right? If I'm going to click on this, okay, I got like something called file is not found. Do you tell me user.txt is already there? What? But why I got the file not found exception? Anybody tell me why user.txt, which is throwing an error, is file is not found, file not found? I've opened the file with the users.txt and in the write mode. Then we got some here like file not found. Anyone tell me? So I've opened the file, and after that, trying to see executing the code again. File not found exception which I am getting. I mean, actually, it is an exception which I am getting, but there is users is already there. Even it is outside of the path as well. So how to fix this? Anyone, any answers on the chat box? It raising an exception, right? But correct. But there is a file, right? There is a file here, users.txt. Due to maybe wrong code. Okay. So I'm moving this. I'm going to execute this code. Now it's working, right? So wrong code is correct. The print statement we are giving outside and we are asking to print it. The scope of this, see, I'm using the print of file dot tell, which I'm using it here in the indentation is after the, not within the with. So I'm using outside of the with block. With is also block, with is also block. In the block, I'm not using the print statement, and the file key file this object is not recognizable when you use the in the line number 6. So when you go to this print of file dot tell, if I go and execute this, I got output is 36. What is 36? 36 is nothing but a file pointer position. So 36, which we got, which is telling the current file pointer position. Current file pointer position. So tell function will return the current file pointer position. So what we can do now, we got this tell. tell is giving the file pointer position. I'm going to use something called print of. See, you may understand that what is the 36. You can go and count this text. When you count this text, we'll get the number of characters within this, including the space and each and everything here, which will give that. Okay, if you think like, okay, Raja, this text is little very big text. Can you give me only very small text? Then show me that. Okay, I'm going to say that hello. Okay, this is a small text which I'm taking up. I'm going to execute this code. You can see that hello, how many characters hello is? 5 characters. So in your file users.txt, there is only hello, and there is only 5 characters here in the hello. So what we can do, right guys, it's very simple now. Okay, there is hello, only 5 characters are there. That is the reason we are getting here tell, which is going to tell you what is the current file path pointer. So now I'm going back to again seek demo. So if you want, use the print of file.seek. What is the seek? I'm not going to use any parameter passing here. If I'm going to execute this code, you can see that file not found exception is coming up. So why file.seek, which is giving this way? What is happening here? Here I'm getting the 5 output is, I'm getting the 5, the current file pointer position, but we got an error file.seek. So anybody tell me why seek is throwing an error here? What if I'm going to use the read method here? What if I'm going to use the read mode? If I'm going to use file not found again? So because that's how it is working, right? W mode, if I'm going to use, you can see, uh, 1 second. Okay, it is work. It is actually, yeah. Why file is not found? Anybody tell me? I'm waiting for your answer. Anyone tell me what is the your answer here? You are asking to move, but where I am not mentioned. So shall I use the 3 here? I'm going to execute now code. It's working. Yes, GK, you are right. So tell you that what is the current file pointer position. Seek is like where you want to go and look at the position. So seek is always talks about modifying the file pointer position. So 3, I am giving the position value. So you are modifying the file pointer position. Okay, the current file pointer position, modifying the file pointer positions. So seek will take the like value which can okay, purpose of the seek method is which is enable us to modify the file pointer position externally. Okay, it refers to the new position of the file pointer within the file itself. That's how we can use this one. Okay, which is really important, guys. If you want to change the file pointer position, we can change it. Okay, then after that we can print the output as well. First of all, is it seekable or not? Maybe a pointer is at the end of the last position. Yeah, that is correct. But at the same time, when you want to modify the, yeah, you are right. Tell will tell you that pointer will go to the last position. But if you can modify it, we can modify by using the given the integer value here. Okay, if you want to move to the first at the beginning of the line, you can use the 0, or if you want to give the end of the string, we can use the length of the, we can read the content, and also you can provide that. So you read that data and store into one variable and give the length of that string, that is also will can show the at the end of the file. So seek is modifying the file pointer position, tell is current file pointer positions, both are there. Okay, so I'm just giving now here 3 is like modifying the file pointer position. And if you want to check whether it is a seekable or not, we can use, there is a function name is called the seekable. Seekable is the Boolean function which can returns the Boolean value. Okay, if it is seekable, then you can go and return it. Okay, now I'm going to see this is coming up now. Okay, so what if I'm going to say that if file.seekable, if you say it is a false, then it will throw an error. Okay, something like this works. Okay, anyway, for example, -1, it is I think GK is telling now, if you go and execute that, file not found error. Okay, file not found comes here because it is not seekable basically, right? So we are giving the out of position, it is not available, right? Something like that. If I give the 0, it will go to the first position, then we can see this. Okay, so you have to modify the data, guys. Okay, you have to modify the data on the file pointer. Now I'm going to execute this code. We can see this absolutely, like this is where it is working. File.seekable, I am changing this code to the pointer. So the simple thing is that seekable, which is going to return the true or false, and modifying the file pointer position. Something like this, we can understand. So I'm going to add these functions in the that one in introduction we discussed it, right? If you go to this, I'm adding the list here. So open, readable, writable, close. There is another functions here, seek and seekable, and last one is the tell. So these are the three functions we are actually talking about. This is related to the file pointer positions. So I can say that file pointers, position of file pointers. Okay, we can say that position of file pointers. These are the write functions. Okay, so write functions. So above one is the read functions. So this is the read functions, read and write. This one is, okay, these are the check permissions. Okay, so we can say that permissions for file. Okay, this is like a file basic operations, file basic operations, close the file and like this. Okay, like this will be there. Now we can see file basic operations and all. So this is how I am just we are using it. Now I got the question, Raja, how to ask modify at end of the file with a seek? How to modify at the end of the file? You don't need to use that. You can use the append method. Okay, you can simply use the append method. It can be modified at the end. So you have, if you know it, okay, length of the string, you can take it up. See, in that case, what we can do, right, there is two ways we can do it to answer your question. One is that you can calculate the first, you read the content, and store into the one variable. Say that like this, file dot read, and we can store into the one variable that's called content. Okay, this will get all the content here. This content will have, this is in the string has the length, that length we can give. So that length we can pass there, and we can provide that length of the string here that can be modified. Two ways we can do it, either with the append function, append mode, or with the finding the length of the string and pass that length of the string to this. Okay, then it can be taken care. For example, here I'm giving the 5. So forget about seek method here. Just I'm going to give here. See, actually there is only 5 characters are there. I'm going to execute this. 5 is coming. It is end of the position only. Either you can pass the length of the string, or we can give the append mode. That's where we can use this. Since you are asked seek method, it works. Yeah. Yeah, go to the seek method. Then after the seek method, you can go and write it here. This is also works. You can use the file dot write. So basically, where you want to start and write the code. So that's where, like, you can write here. For example, seek is at 5 position. Say that hello Raja. Okay, I'm just writing here. If I'm going to execute this code, you can see this. I'll go to now users. Okay, and you see that hello Raja is also there. Ruchi, since you asked the question how to modify the end of the file with the seek, you can see that hello is there without using the append mode. Without using the append mode, I am using the seek, telling the position is a 5. Then after that, we are modifying with the write function. Okay, this is how it works. These are all very basics which I spoken, very basics on the files. But in futures, we can talk more advanced concepts like dealing with the Excel sheets, dealing with the CSV files, okay, and also binary format, okay. So and also images, anything we can talk later. So images and all I will talk later, because these are all very basics we are talking about. Okay, people who don't know, they can understand this. And after that, we can use the different libraries. Okay, Okay, if you want to deal with the images, guys, okay, for example, let me go to this introduction part. Okay, see, if you want to deal with images, okay, we can use the pillow or OpenCV. These are the libraries we have it, but there are many, but these are the very popular one, right? If you want to deal with the binaries, we can change the mode. Okay, Excel sheet, we have some libraries. PDF, we have some libraries. Dedicated libraries are there. CSV, we have some libraries. Okay, so these are all files, right? Image is also file. Excel is also file. PDF is also file. CSV is also file. And AML files and all, which we already discussed, it works basically. So different ways we can deal with this. Yeah, we can also read the images. Okay, we can also read the images. For example, what we can do, right? Shall I copy some image here and read it? Yeah, RB stands for read binary format. Okay, since we are talking about, let me go to this binary data. Okay, and dot py. Okay, sorry, rename it. I'll go to now py. Okay, so here what we can do, guys. So I'm going to read some image. Okay, I'm going to take some image. Just wait a second. I'm going to place that image. I will show you how to read the images. Just 1 second, I am taking the image because my system is little got slow. I am taking one image. Okay. I will read this image with the code. Okay. So I'm going to. I'm going to place this one into the files. Let me reveal the finder. Okay. Okay. You can see there is an image here in the files. The image. Okay. This is an image. So we have this image. I want to read this image, right? So what we can do now. Okay, so we'll take this entire path, that's a relative path, go to the binary data. So open the file with open and use the file name here. And you can just keep it here RB, or we can also use the plus if you want. And we can use the encoding here, UTF-8. Okay, so we are just reading the file here, right, with open. So what we can do, right, I want to, this is, we are opening the file. Okay, so we can give the alias name as file or as image file. So we can say like this image file I want to print. Okay, so we can say that image file dot read. So this is the read. I'll take this one is the different variable that's called binary data. Okay, any name you can give, guys. It's up to you. It's basically image data. If you go and print this image print of binary data. So I'm trying to read which is an image now. Okay. So what we'll do, right? I'm going to execute this code. Okay, You see that binary board does not, okay, yeah, of course, encoding which is not, encoding is not allowed for the binary format, so which we can remove it. That is one point you should note it down. Saying that, okay, the value binary mode does not take an encoding argument. So this is one point you should remember. And again, I'm going to execute this code and we'll see that it is printing all the binary data, right? So it is reading the image basically. Okay, so what is this which you are seeing on my screen? It is basically reading the image. Maybe this image size is big, there is so much data which is there. This is all binary which is taking up. But there is a very popular frameworks or very popular libraries. We have something called Pillow and OpenCV. We are not going to use this way in the projects. We always use the something like OpenCV and Pillow kind of Python libraries. Okay, that is strongly recommended to use it. So just keep in mind. So we are not using this at any cost. Okay, 1 second, guys. Hope you understand the concepts, guys. Do you have any questions on this? Okay, my VS Code is little got closed. Again, I'm going to open it because of file size. It is got open. So do you have any questions? Do you have any questions, guys? I'm going to take the questions. So what do you think about this session? Okay, do you want more advanced concepts, or like you don't want, you want a little more advanced? How you feel about this session? Like you want me to take a little more advanced, or like these concepts you already know it? If you can tell me the feedback, then I will focus on those concepts only, because end of the day, it's up to you. Like, I'm waiting for your response. I'm done from my end with the basics programming for Python file handling, but we'll catch up with the little more like OpenCV and many other files like CSV and many more things in upcoming days. But you tell me, is this session is okay, or like do you want more content on this? Can anybody please tell me, which can help me to focus on that way? Definitely, Gopala Krishna. I am going to come up with the new concepts, because these are the people who are not having the knowledge, for them really helpful to that. So definitely going forward, I'll come up with a very advanced one. So we'll see that. We'll plan for that. I'm going to connect with you again in another row at 2 o'clock. So we are going to discuss about the comprehensions. There is, I'm going to talk about list comprehensions and everything. So we'll see that. So this today we completed basics, but file handling and OOPS concepts advanced. There is some advanced concepts we'll plan in the upcoming days. We'll go very deeper and understanding about Python programming. Okay. Fine, guys. We are catching up another at 2 p.m. to discuss about on the comprehensions. Okay. Definitely, Ruchi. I will explain that Pillow and OpenCV libraries in upcoming sessions, because that will take minimum. Pillow is okay. Just we can finish it in 45 minutes. But OpenCV is a large library. It will take minimum 2 to 3 hours to understand the whole functionalities. Okay. So no issues. We'll discuss each and every concepts in the upcoming days. Okay. Yeah, I'll plan for that. Thank you, guys.